that. I mean, it may be that ends up being a really important message in the last 5 months from our nominee is simply, you know what, it's less about like, I'm gonna completely change things. It's just, I'm gonna like settle things down a little bit. I think there's a lot of people out there, and not just centrists, even a lot of Democrats, like I think that's the thing a lot of people yearn for. And so it'll be interesting to see if we can land that plane.
Well, unfortunately, we have to wrap. But I don't know if you have any time to hang out for another 15 or 20 minutes. So many people would love to ask you questions.
Sure.
Not obligation, but
Sure.
Wonderful to have you here. If you don't mind just sitting there for a second for me to thank you all and say how wonderful it was to have all of you here too. Oh, and Josh, you want to come up for a second? Did you get a copy of this?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay, good. Anyway, well, thank you, David. Thank you so much for being here. That was
Thank you.
Fascinating.
So it was a jam-packed 3 days. We really appreciate you guys giving us your time and sticking out all the way to the end. Some last-minute housekeeping things, right? So thanks again to our sponsors. Many of them are still here: Accenture, Ericsson, Johnson & Johnson, IBM, Micron, Nestle Waters, and our agency W2O Group. So thank you again. Let's give a round of applause to the partners that help make this possible. You'll get an email probably before Thanksgiving, the next week or so, with more specifics around our upcoming programs in 2020. But back in New York, May 19th and 20th, back here 5 days after the 2020 election. So hopefully we'll take this conversation and see what happens. But so we encourage you all to come back next year. What else? There's lunch boxes out front for those of you who are catching cars and need to get to the airport.
That's an innovation, by the way. I think that's the first time we've done that, isn't it?
Done what?
Lunch boxes for people who are catching cars.
Well,
We're
thinking,
getting
right?
more organized. Okay, good. Thank you.
We're a 9-year-old startup.
I know, 9 years later. Okay.
And that is something. So next year will be our 10th anniversary, right? So it's a big year for us to so hopefully you'll join us. Obviously reach out. We want all you to write for us. Many of you have already. So we'll be reaching out to talk about that. Any feedback, we'll be sending out a poll, and really, thank you again to everyone.
One last thing, along the lines of staying in touch with us, it's come up a number of times in the discussions we've had about the tech platforms and global governance and the internet. There is a community that has kind of coalesced here in an interesting way, and some people say we should try to figure out a way to move it forward together. If you have ideas, you want to do that, stay in touch with me. I'm very eager to facilitate that in any way. All of you who care about that, definitely just stay in touch with me and us, because we all are trying to figure this problem out together. So,
thank you again.
Thank you.